Hello and welcome to episode number 12 of the Knitting Teaspoon podcast. I am Lisbeth, your host, and this is a podcast which is mostly about knitting but also other crafts, as you will see this week, because I've done quite a few things apart from knitting this week. Yeah, today is May 4. This is a special day in the Netherlands. During the Second World War, the Netherlands was occupied from 1940 till 1945, and we were liberated by, well, the Allied forces on May 5, 1945. So tomorrow is the day that we celebrate our freedom and that we are no longer oppressed by the Germans, even though we do not have particularly bad relationships with the Germans nowadays. We still celebrate our freedom tomorrow, and today is Memorial Day, so we remember all the people that have fallen in the war. This means that in the evening we will have to keep silent for, I don't know if it's 1 or 2, I think it's 2 minutes. Can't remember now. I will make sure to look it up before I have to be silent this evening. My family is very fortunate, so I don't know any people that were lost in the war. Mind you, 1945 is a long time ago, so my grandparents probably knew a lot of people that passed away, but my parents weren't even born at the time, so my grandparents were children during the war, so I have no memories of this whatsoever, but I still thought it would be worth mentioning that today is day of National Memorial. I don't know how we would translate it, but we grieve for all who have fallen in the war. So this is a bit of a sad note to start a podcast with. I am totally aware of that. So let's get right into what we are here for. We are here for the knitting and the other crafts and all the happiness that those crafts will bring us. So let's get right into that. And I will start off today with what I'm wearing, because this is a very exciting new finished object. You will have seen this fabric before because I purchased it early March, I think on my birthday, at a fabric fair that was in Eindhoven at my birthday. So Eindhoven is the place where I live with my boyfriend. This fabric I bought with the intention of making a Françoise dress, which is a pattern by Tilly and the Buttons. Again, I totally love her patterns, although I must admit that at this point I feel a little bit overconfident in sewing, so I tend not to read the instructions properly, like, okay, I know what I can do here, and then just skip some steps, and then in the end I'm like, this doesn't work anymore. I can't sew here because I've already attached something else there and now it doesn't work. What should I do? And then you read back and then you read that you should have finished things earlier. But I didn't because I'm stubborn. But I still really like this pattern. I really like the cute little mice, even though I think most of them are upside down or in some kind of weird direction. It's completely fine with me. The only thing that I'm not too happy about right now is I think I've installed a zipper on the back a little bit too high, and there is something that's not completely right with the neckline facing, because it tends to come up on the front side. You can see a little bit of the neckline facing here, and maybe some good pressing will do the trick. I don't know. I feel like I've done quite some pressing already, but maybe it just needs a little bit more tender love and care, So, this is my latest finished object. I literally just finished it this morning. I was planning on finishing it yesterday evening, but when my boyfriend came home, I was well, on the second to last seam, and then my spool ran out of yarn in hideous point, because this pattern is constructed like you install a zipper, and then from the zipper you extend the seam on the back, because there's a zipper on the back. I totally ignored the instructions to make it an invisible zip, because I didn't have one, and I do have one that's almost exactly this color, which is not an invisible zip, so I think that's fine. But I was trying to fiddle to get the seams nice and neat on the back, and I can't really show you because it would mean shoving almost my butt in the camera, and I'm not going to do that. But it was right after the zip, where I was trying to stitch as close to the zip as possible in order to finish the rest of the seam, and right at that point my spool ran out of yarn. And if there's any place in a garment or sewing object where you don't want any excess loose ends, which you get by cutting, well, by having the end of a seam, and even if you trim those ends very close, there's always a chance that they might unravel a little bit and then leave an end hanging. Well, you don't want those near a zipper. Well, guess what I was doing? Installing a zipper. Anyway, it worked out fine. I just needed a little bit more attention from me this morning, which I did, and that's why I'm wearing it, because I wouldn't wear it if it was not finished, I guess. So, yay! Sewing finished object. Let's get into the rest of what I've been doing this week. Overall, I think last week has been very, very exciting. Well, I've some more serious sewing stuff to share with you, because last week I was so excited. I was so convinced that I was going to make more project bags, that I had to go and order some more fabric to do so. And you guys are probably gonna laugh, because I ordered quite a bit, and then I didn't sew any project bags or whatever this week, except for this dress. Although I think those are related, because I felt like I've been adding a lot to my stash, but I want to use up some old stash first, and this was a quite a sizable piece of fabric that I bought, because I was intending to make this a dress out of this and a skirt. So I've made a dress, no skirt yet. But I've ordered some more fabrics, and some of them I made plans to first make a garment out of it for myself, and then use whatever is left over to make project bags. So one of the fabrics that I purchased, I'm just going to show a little piece of them. They are not ironed yet. They're all cotton. But I've washed them. They are dry, but I haven't found time yet to iron them, and yeah, so they're not ironed yet, but you guys are not going to see much of that anyway. So here is the seahorse pattern. It's by Poppy Designs, Poppy Europe. So yeah, sea creatures again. Yes, it's really my weakness. So it's white, as you can see, and the print is in navy, so it's not black, although from a distance I can imagine that it looks a little bit black. But I thought this would be very nice to make me another Rosa shirt, because one can never have too much Rosa shirts, in my opinion. And the next one is definitely one that's going to make you laugh, because I've purchased this fabric. Looks familiar? No? Well, maybe you should go back some episodes, because I'm pretty sure I've made a Rosa shirt out of this fabric, which I've worn on the podcast quite a few times before. This is also by Poppy Designs, and it is a navy blue with whales on it, because I thought It's such a gorgeous fabric. I wish I had made a dress out of it. So I'm going to make a dress out of it, and then whatever I have left over, I will use to make more project bags. And then I saw at this web shop where I ordered this fabric, they also had the same print but then reversed. So this one is white with navy wheels instead of the other way around, and I think I will make another Rosa shirt out of this fabric. Yay! All the Rosa shirts. I can just picture me having all those lovely shirts. I'm so happy about that. Then there's one fabric of whom I don't know what the designer was, but it's with these silver stars, so they are metallic. I don't know how well you can see this on the camera because I can't see what I'm recording while I'm recording. So I'm really hoping this is in focus, but unlike some other podcasters who seem to see already when they are recording what they are recording, I can't see that because of the camera that I'm using. Okay, there was a helicopter flying over. I don't know what for, but it made a lot of noise. So, yeah. And this is fully intended for making project bags and probably mostly the lining of project bags. And then I have some more navy, just dotted fabric. I think will work perfectly with the other fabrics that I've purchased. I don't know what designer or anything it is. This one didn't have a label. And then there's this fabric, which is also by Poppy Designs. She's probably my favorite designer. She designs specifically for kids. I'm 27. Something's going wrong here. Well, I just don't think it's fair that kids get all the nice fabrics, so I just buy them anyway. So these little stars, I think they go very well with the other stars that I've got, and this is also intended for making project bags, so I will at some point. Who knows when. And then there's one other very fun fabric that I've purchased, and the name of the designer is probably somewhere on the side of this fabric, but I don't know. And these are all pretty little balloons, and I thought it was so festive, and still these colors go very well with the other fabrics that I've purchased. So it's from Envol. Stof here, it means fabric in Dutch. So I thought I'd ordered it from a Dutch website, and then I got a link to where I could trace where my package was, and then it said, yeah, your package is on its way from Germany. And I was like, oops, did not intend to order from abroad, but apparently I did. Anyway, yeah, so that's my stash enhancement in terms of fabric. And you guys are going to laugh so hard about what I've done this week. So next up, well, after ordering this fabric, I really had to work towards the deadline because last Sunday, my grandparents, they were married for 60 years. So we had a huge celebration of it. We went to a dinner, well, to a restaurant, and we had all the afternoon and evening there, and it was very lovely. But my grandparents, they were the ones who gave me the spinning wheel that I have. It was theirs for the longest time, and I really wanted to make sure that I could show my grandparents that I'd done something with it, that I really appreciate it. And I've already knit my grandma a pair of gloves in the past, designed specifically for her. But yeah, I really wanted to show that I did something with the spinning wheel as well. So I was spinning on the fiber from Spin Spill before, and I I had to make a mad dash to finish spinning it up, and enough to make at least one skein that I can bring. So I think I spent the entire Saturday behind the spinning wheel, and yeah, my shoulder was hurting, and I could even feel some cramp in my calf from paddling. I have a spinning wheel that's only got one pedal, so it was my right calf that I had been doing all the work, and my left calf hadn't done anything. So I felt like, yeah, I'm going to get asymmetrical from this. But here is the skein, and I know it looks horrible with all the blue and the white cotton pieces in between. I'm not even sure if the blue one's cotton, but I used those to tie it together. So this is the skein that I'd finished first, and I think it's around, I think it's slightly over 400 yards and slightly under 400 meters, and it's 76 grams. So it's a light fingering weight, which is totally not what I expected to be spinning, but yeah, I'm very happy with it. I think my previous project turned out to be like Aran ways or something. I had slightly more. No, I don't think it's Aran weight, but it was a little bit more bulky than. I think it was a heavy worsted weight. I'm not really sure. Anyway, so one of these skeins is like as much meterage as I had from my entire previous spinning project, which kind of explains why it took me so long to spin it, because, you know, if you spin thicker, you just get through a lot of yarn or fiber quicker. And then after I got back home, I managed to twine 2-ply a second skein, and then I had a little bit left over that I had made in a third skein, because it didn't fit all on one bobbin. So you can definitely see that this one turned out a bit more pink and this one turned out a little bit more gray, and but still they go very well together. I mean, all the colors are still in there. I mean, you can definitely see that they were in the same dye bath, but they just happened to get a bit of a different bit of the colors. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out so far. I still have 2 more braids behind me here that I'm planning on spinning up as well, and again 2-ply it, because this is now 50-50 merino BFL, blue-faced Leicester, for those of you who might not know. And yeah, you can also see in this skein that I'm a beginner spinner, and there's quite a bit of overplied twisting going on there. Mind you, I haven't given these skeins a bath yet. I still have to do that, but my mind has completely been taken by other things. So the party was really lovely. I think my grandma was very proud. At the party I was knitting, and she and all of her present sisters and sisters-in-law and many other ladies who were present, mostly ladies though, and they managed to find a reason to hop on over to check out what I was doing, and made a little chat. And yeah, there's quite a few women in my family that are completely crafting addicted as well. One is completely into embroidery, apparently. I didn't know. I mean, these are sisters from my grandma, and I don't get to see my grandma very often, so her family that's even further away from me, as in a family tree, yeah, I hardly ever get to see them. So maybe in 5 years, if they manage to reach their 65th wedding anniversary, I don't know. Maybe I will see them again. I don't know. But yeah, my grandma also offered me her handicraft encyclopedia. I really don't know how old this is, but I kind of hope that it's really old, because it would be so awesome to have um, like a book that has stood the test of time and is still useful. And I would like to see some more of knitting and other craft traditions in the Netherlands. I mean, I know that my grandma has done quite a bit of crochet, because there were quite some bedspreads that she'd made herself, and curtains and things like that. I know that she must have done some knitting and spinning as well, but I don't think I've ever seen any of her projects. But yeah, so that's very exciting. Now, the project that I was working on while I was at the party, they were my walrus socks, and the first one is finished. So I was working on the ribbing through most of the party, and then I finished it at the party. So yeah, so from toe to top, it's quite a sizable sock, I'd say. So the first one is finished, and I'm really excited about that. And then I cast on the second one, because I do have a kind of second sock syndrome, which means that my brain only has space to work on a second sock as soon as the first one is finished, because I just want to have the pair. Mind you, although last week has been a little bit colder again, still not very cold for this time of year, but considering we've had like almost a heat wave at the end of April, it seemed quite cold. But now the weather is warming up again, and we've had some weather, I think around 23 degrees, well, around 20 probably, outside, and I think that's around 55, maybe 60 degrees Fahrenheit. That might be wrong. I will edit it in here if it's completely wrong. I just don't know. But yeah, I'm not really looking forward too much to having these socks finished, because it's a bit warm for them now. But in my Japanese knotted project bag, lived my second sock, and dropping stitches. Luckily, those are quite easy to fix. And as you can see, it's quite a sizable sock already. I mean, if it's very small compared to the other sock, of course, but yeah, I'm increasing for the heel already, so I think I'm almost finished with that. So I can almost put in the heel and then start working on the leg, and yeah, that's quite exciting, I think. Still will take me quite a while to finish it, especially if I keep on sewing and doing other crafts as a crazy person, but you know, that's how it works. These socks, however, are not from the yarn shop that I go to, a yarn or knit group every Thursday, so I can't knit on them while I'm there. So I knit on my blanket, which is from yarn that I did purchase there, and it has seen a little bit of love, not too much, I must say. But I think this purple square is the last one that was already there last week. And then I've added a yellow one, a purple one, a red one, and here is going to be the next one. I knit from both directions to the halfway point, and then the center two squares I knit together, because I do some kind of intarsia wrapping of the yarn to make the seam in the middle there. So I need to knit those two in the center at the same time, which is also why this is the top of the last row that I can knit in this direction before I have to continue working on the border. So I'm hoping to have it finished before summer really strikes, because then I don't want to sit under a blanket. I just want to knit on the tinier squares. Although if I keep going at the speed that I'm at now, I may have finished the blanket before autumn comes around. I don't know. Anyway, there's been a little bit of progress. Not too much, but a little bit. So, yay, it's growing. So, there's been one more cheeky purchase last week, and that is some yarn to start dyeing. I've purchased some acid dyes before, and this week I've ordered 26 of these skeins. These are Drops Fable, or Fable, whatever you want to call it. Let me show you. And this is their natural colorway. So Drops, they have, I think it's every year, they have a sale in which their yarn is like 35% off. So I think I've paid around 150, slightly more than €1.50 for these balls of yarn. They are only 50-gram balls though, but still, it's very cheap. I don't know what their prices would be in British pounds or US dollars, but it's really cheap yarn. I think it would be around the same price in pounds and in dollars. I think the conversion rate is not that far off, but it was very cheap, and especially because the May sale has started now, they are extremely cheap. So yeah, once they have arrived, I couldn't wait for much longer, and I prepared a bath to soak my yarn in some citric acid solution and start dyeing. And I've of course involved my boyfriend in this, because we like to try out some creative stuff together these days. So yeah, we decided to try and make a solid color of blue, and here it is. I mean, you can totally see that it didn't turn out to be a solid color. A lot of lessons to be learned there, but yeah, I think it turned out quite all right. The reason why I started trying dyeing with blue is because my boyfriend and I both really like blue. So if they are lighter colors, then it's usually right up my alley. If it's darker colors, it's perfect for him. So I thought with blue we can't go wrong. Whatever color it turns out to be, yeah, it will be great for any one of us. So I'm really excited about this color. It kind of reminds me of the fountain pens with which we had to write in primary school. I mean, when you start writing in primary school, I think at first you write with a ballpoint pen, but after about a year, they think you can manage to keep the right kind of pressure to start writing with a fountain pen. So we had to write with a fountain pen at school, and yeah, I think it looks a little bit like this. And you can see there's hints of red in this color, because I started mixing colors right from the start, because I didn't know what dyeing was going to be like, and I didn't know how much I would need or anything, so I decided to just order the starter kit, which had the magenta, the cyan, the yellow, and the black dye in there. So this is a mix of cyan, magenta, and black. There's no yellow involved in this one. And yeah, I really like the way it turned out. So I'm really happy with that. We also wrote down the formula for our dye, so that we could reproduce it if we really fell in love with this color. Now, I don't think it's that perfect yet, but yeah, I'm really happy, and it looks pretty. So I had finished dyeing one skein, and of course it's an addictive process. So I wanted to dye something again, and I wanted to try something that's speckled, and it's not really speckled, but here is the second skein that I've dyed, and this one is mostly using the black color, but I've used little bits of all the colors in here. And this one, I must admit, has been inspired by LB Art Yarns. They used to have a Minecraft cool colorway, and at the time I was really into playing Minecraft. I do play video games myself. I mentioned last week that my boyfriend plays video games. I do play video games as well, although I really don't enjoy combat-based games that much. I really like games that are creative, so making something pretty is much more up my alley. There's games like Roller Coaster Tycoon or The Sims or Minecraft that I really enjoy playing, that are not necessarily solely focused on combat, although some of those games like Minecraft do have a combat portion involved as well. But yeah, I saw that color. I think it was, no, I really don't remember, but I think it was Amber from the Yarn Hoarder podcast. And she shared that she had this colorway, I think it was her, but it might have been some other podcaster, I don't know. She shared that she had this sock yarn, and I really wanted to order it, and I looked online and I thought it was quite expensive, and then I put it on my wish list for I don't think it was my birthday, I think it was Sinterklaas. I will tell you more about Sinterklaas when time comes around, because it's a Dutch holiday. But not today. But I didn't get it, of course. And yeah, so I have always regretted not having that colorway. So I thought, let's attempt at making something that looks like a Minecraft cold block, which is like mostly a lighter gray, and then it has dark specks in it. If you really want to know what it looks like, you can probably Google it. There must be plenty of images of this. But yeah, so you can see that it's mostly light gray, and then there's some spots where I've added some almost black flecks on it. Although I must admit, none of these colors are purely black, because I thought coal would be more of a brownish, close to black color. So there's reds and yellows involved in the black speckle parts, and the rest of the skein has some blues and some reds in there as well. So yeah, really like how this turned out. There's only one thing that is a bit difficult, I think, and it's where I put the ties to keep the skein together, and especially the orange tie. Why am I using an orange tie? Well, it's because I need to sometimes get my yarn out of a bath again, and to avoid it from getting completely tangled, I like to pull it up at the orange tie, and orange is a nice and very bright color, which stands out against this gray and the blue color. So I use it to pull from there, but because it has been tied together quite fast, you can see that this color, this piece turned out to be quite white, probably because the dye couldn't enter because it was too tightly squeezed together. So a lesson for next time. I already have some yarn soaking again for the next dye bath. You must probably think I'm a crazy person, but it's okay. I'm yarn crazy, I know that. So yeah, that's most of what I wanted to talk about this week. And then there's, of course, the last thing, which you might think is at least as exciting, and that's the giveaway that I have organized 2 weeks ago. I've made a project bag, which I have right here. It's in this gorgeous teal gingham pattern, and with the teal and navy and gray and green fish on them, with some yarn and some minis. And I've made a list of everyone who has entered, and I'm really hoping that there's not going to be anyone who's trying to enter right now, but I think I've mentioned quite clearly that last night would be the last time to enter. So I've made a list. This is a quite random order because YouTube doesn't give you a very nice and chronological order of comments that were given under a video. I think it somehow thinks about which comments are more popular than others or something. I don't know the logic behind this, but they have some kind of system for that. And one comment I had some trouble finding that it was even there, but I'm going to get my random generator. So I just pushed a button here on my screen and it generated a number, and the random number generator gave me number 4, and it's right here. I hope you can see this because I really don't know how screens are going to turn off on camera, but it's number 4, and according to my list, this is CJ Goodwin. So congratulations, I believe your name is Jane, and that you are in the United States, so congratulations. I am going to get in touch with you. I think we are in touch through Revelry already, so that would be very nice. But just send me a message anyway to let me know that you've seen this episode and that you know that you've won. And yeah, we can exchange contact details to make the shipping in order. So yeah, congratulations. And with that, I would like to end this podcast episode, and I hope you have a lovely week. I hope you have a lot of time to knit and spin and sew and crochet or whatever you guys are doing currently. So hope to see you next time. Bye!